Here we go again. I mean, this is the truth show, and there's more. Oh, I'm not done yet. Oh, and there's more. Oh, I'm not done yet. I mean, this is the truth show. Oh, yes.
Howdy, y'all. How y'all doing? Welcome to the Truth Show. My fellow truth seekers, I'm your host, Kisha. Now, today we are broadcasting live to break down the major events that have unfolded since this is going back to the 15th. So we're diving into the leaked text from Trump Jr., which he has already dismissed as AI fabricated. Are we surprised by that? No. Alongside a surface clip allegedly showing him using drugs. Yes, I definitely got the clip. And also, behind the scenes of the UFC is reportedly in total disarray, while concerns grow over Trump's substantially declining health and Iran deal that looks worse than ever. We've also got updates on Kamala Harris's latest statements, Don Lemon's bombshell interview with Ashley St. Clair, and the opening of the Obama Center, and of course, other random headlines. I have so much to cover, seriously. And in entertainment news, please share, you guys. In entertainment news, we're going to cover Nicki Minaj is dealing with the stalker while potentially pivoting toward a gospel album, maybe. I'm not sure. Megan Thee Stallion is facing Ghetto labels and more dark secrets regarding Wendy Williams. I may talk about Wendy Williams. I may not. I don't know. That's coming to the light. We're also asking the tough questions. Was Jennifer Lopez the villain or just a pawn when it came to her rapid fire upward, rocket career in terms of Tommy Mottola? Was she just a pawn? I mean, are we blaming the wrong people? We should definitely dive deep into that. And why does Usher continue to defend Diddy? Could there be some dirt involved? Is he just like Diddy? We need to dive deep into that as well. And then, of course, I have some royal news, which I have not had in a long time, about Prince William and Kate and their children who were met with boos. It was quite foretelling. We definitely got to talk about that. They were booing. The protesters had their picket signs. It was crazy. I mean, they had to witness that. I don't know if they ever witnessed that before, but I definitely got clips for that as well. And the question regarding that, if exposing the kids to this healthy, or they should just simply deserve to know the truth anyway. This is the lifestyle that they have to become accustomed to, and they should get it all, good and bad. I don't know. Let's talk about that and more. Here are your warnings. All right, here are your warnings.
Please note that this is all alleged. I've never met any of these people. I've deeply researched all of my information. Here we go. This is a trigger warning. In this video, I may be talking about or showing sensitive material about some subjects or topics that may be disturbing or upsetting, or may bring forth some troubling memories, as you read in the description or title. With that said, either end the video now or brace yourself. Aside from that, enjoy.
All right, fantastic. Okay, we're going to start this off with, of course, some politics and world news. So let's go ahead and start this off with that. All right, fantastic. Now, I have to say this, because I think this is something that definitely should be brought up here, in terms of Donald Trump. Let me put this up here. Let's see. Definitely want that up there. So let's definitely put that up there as well. And we are talking about politics and world news. And let me just do this, see if I can. Wish I could move that somewhere else, but it looks like that is not moving. Well, you guys know we're talking about politics and run-ins. I mean, that's no hidden fact feature, correct? Anyway, so here's the thing here. There was a situation where private text messages connected to UFC circles were leaked publicly. These weren't UFC fighters' texts, they were political texts that surfaced around the UFC events because UFC leadership and certain political figures have close ties. Now, here's the core of this whole little text leakage thing, because it's crazy. It seems that a batch of private messages involving Donald Trump was leaked. Now, these messages were part of a legal filing and in a separate case. And once the documents became public, the texts inside them were exposed. It seems that the texts weren't about UFC fights directly, but they circulated heavily in UFC fan spaces because the UFC CEO, Dana White, is close to the Trump family, as you know, and then Trump Jr. is often present at UFC events. And UFC audiences tend to amplify political leaks involving that circle. So the leaks spread through the UFC communities, even though the texts themselves weren't about fighters or match fixing, or was it? Now, the leaked texts included political strategy conversations. The message reported contained political discussions, internal strategy talk, commentary about public figures, behind the scenes communications. Now, nothing about UFC match outcomes or fight manipulation. Here are the texts right here. I'm going to pull up this video for you guys, okay? So give me a moment here. All right, let's pull up this video. Let's pull up the video. There's a few videos that for some reason was not playing correctly. So I may be pulling those up as well. So do not be alarmed by that. Let's see. I believe it's okay. It's this video right there. So let's go ahead and pull it up. Okay, here's the thing here. We already talked about that. I'm rushing through this, honestly, because we have a really long show, you know, and I kind of just want to get through it, seriously.
Eric Trump apparently tried.
Don't worry, I'm explaining everything diligently. I'm explaining everything. I'm not just going to rush through it that much.
To get illegal tips about rigged MMA fights at the White House this evening. The allegations and evidence come from former MMA fighter Daniel Cormier, who posted this. What is it? Direct messages from Eric Trump asking Cormier if he's placing any bets, then asking him if he has any insider information on fighters who are injured, and finally asking if any of the fights are rigged because he wanted to make money off of the fight. This is the most corrupt family in the history of American politics.
Now, here is the second video that for some reason the sound was not working, so I'm having to pull that video up. Okay, so here's this video right here.
Eric Trump apparently.
Here it is.
This is insane. In a now deleted post, here's what Daniel Cormier right here put up about Eric Trump right there. Here's the first, and I'll get out of the shot. Anything you could tell me about the fighters tomorrow is what Eric Trump said right up here. And then Cormier responded. Eric Trump would allegedly write, "You placing any bets?" Cormier, "No, I'm actually not allowed to bet on any cards or anything. Are any of the fighters injured that you know of?" I'm not quite sure what you're asking me, but I think they're all in good shape. "I'll cut to the chase," allegedly wrote Eric Trump. "Are any of the fights tomorrow rigged? I've been eyeing the Lopez fight," and blah, blah, blah. And then he basically says, "No, and I am appalled you would even ask me that." Now, before it was deleted, Daniel Cormier would write, "I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for bringing this to light. However, I refuse to stay silent. The UFC is a sport I'm deeply passionate about. I will not tolerate this type of insider behavior. Shame on anyone trying to ruin this beautiful event." Already, we are seeing the defenses of the alleged exchange that took place. Eric Trump is saying that it's completely fake. "I never reached out to Daniel. In fact, this is scary." Now, for those saying that it was completely fabricated, Daniel Cormier, via MMA Junkie's headline, posted and deleted the exchange. The Sporting News would even write, while the tweet didn't stay up for long, it was enough to raise more than a few eyebrows, validating that it was posted. Then there was Eric Trump once more, posting this. "This did not happen. They were AI generated. Please be careful with reporting." What does that last line even mean? For the record, Cormier would even write once more after the post was deleted from his account. "Are people really this dumb?" You know, we might have potentially saved face if immediately you were to say, "Someone got into my account and photoshopped this," or put out any defense whatsoever. But questioning the intellect of the fans, questioning the intellect of anybody and everybody, including Elon's Grok bot saying that he did post this, now it seems like the consensus amongst the fans is that you're trying to do damage control because of your position that you are in with the UFC. Overall, this looks terrible for everybody involved. And I really hope that we get an answer soon because these are serious allegations. And the one thing, of course, even if Cormier stood up for himself and the sport, the one thing that we don't want is potentially these exchanges that are taking place. You cannot question the integrity of the sport no matter what. This is insane. And it now delete.
There you go. So you basically have Trump Jr. You basically have Trump Jr. denying the text, saying that they never happened and it was all AI generated, but there's literally imperative proof that it did happen. So that's when we're met with this kind of dilemma on if they were staging fights for bets, basically. So that's the sum of it. So a lot of people ask why UFC fans thought it was UFC text, because the leak hit the internet right after UFC event were, and Trump Jr. and Donald Trump were present, and the timing made people connect the two. Also, the UFC social media circles share the same screenshots. MMA influencers reposted them. The Trump/UFC connection made it look like a UFC-related leak, but the content itself wasn't about the fights. You see, yes, texts involving Donald Trump Jr. were leaked, but they weren't about UFC fights. They just spread through the UFC circles because of the Trump-Dana connection, and they have a long history together. But that's besides the point. But was there underhandedly fights being staged for bets and money? Probably. Knowing Trump and his family, I'm sure it was. I'm definitely so sure it was. Okay. All right, and let's talk about Trump's health. It has been reported that during recent meetings, Trump seemed lost and confused, and they had to hold him or guide him along. They were treating him like some kind of elderly patient. And there have been concerns about Donald Trump's health surge after observers noticed a cracked purple mark on his hand during the G7 summit. These are recent photos, by the way. The visible blemish sparked speculation and questions about his well-being, especially given his age and history of health scrutiny. Now, commentators pointed out that such marks can be signs of underlying medical issues, but the article highlights ongoing public anxiety about Trump's fitness as he remains a major political figure. And you know what Trump said? He said he's healthy. He's 14 years younger. He has health of 14 years younger or something along those lines. And he believe he said he had 210, some 250, 20, whatever. Point of the matter is, he said he has a clean bill of health from top to bottom, and there's nothing to worry about. That's what he is continuously to freaking say. No doctor have came out and really concluded or backed up his story. So we only have his word for it. And we know Trump is a pathological liar. So we can't really believe anything that he says. And we know he loves threatening doctors. So we can't believe anything they say either. So I guess I have no idea. We just got to play it by ear, but we can clearly see in these clips that something is seriously wrong with Trump. This is not wishful thinking, but it's just something is really wrong with him. Here's some clips.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good. We straight into the
Where
are we going?
We
On
go
the other
down.
side.
No,
The
no,
other
no.
side. Go.
Where's my wonderful translator? I need
Go
you.
down.
How are you?
Hello, my friend.
Hello, my
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
A bunch of you sent me this video from this voice and speech expert who's pointing out that Donald Trump is displaying signs of his swallowing mechanism getting weaker because of his dementia. I'm a physical therapist with a doctorate in my field and 14 years experience working in home health care treating geriatric patients with dementia and swallowing issues, just like this guy.
The cartels are running and they're killing 250, 300,000 people in our country every single year. The drugs, it's horrible. It's devastated families. You know, you lose a child or a parent. I mean, parents are dying too with drugs.
It's progressing.
That's correct.
As you may know, I am a voice and speech professor, and if I heard this with somebody I was working with, I would immediately recommend them to their doctor to get their brain scanned, because this is a symptom of late stage dementia, because the swallow response is deteriorating.
That's correct. The primary cause that someone with frontotemporal dementia expires from is pneumonia related to the aspiration of food or fluids. The food material.
And it goes on and on. Basically, Trump's health is declining primarily because he don't eat healthy. He's known to eat whatever he wants to eat. How you doing, Indra? Yeah, he's known to eat whatever he wants to eat because a lot of his chefs, cooks, whatever staff are afraid of him. So they just give him whatever he wants. I mean, he's always threatening people's lives, and judging from his history, from the Epstein files and leaked stories, he will end your life. If you don't end your life, he will end your career. And then he has the funding of the ICE members / new KKK members. He has them seriously in his corner to do whatever other illegal crap that he wants them to do. So he has the power of them, the KKK / modern day, you know what I'm saying, ICE members. So speaking of that, I should have flipped that. Modern day KKK members / ICE members, literally on payroll, huge power dynamic. So that's why he's easily able to intimidate people and threaten them. So people are afraid to speak up, but Trump is known to end lives. You see what he did to his ex-wife? He buried her in his golf course. Seriously? And she was going to speak out about their rape, when he raped her and stuff. And they'll tell him what else she was going to speak out about as well. So it's been rumored. This is all alleged entertainment purposes, but I deeply research everything. Everything I'm saying on this entire show, that's what it is. As you saw in my warnings, research it for yourself. But it was told that she was going to probably start talking about Ivanka as well, along with many other things. But that's a whole nother subject here. So a lot of people are definitely afraid to speak out against Trump, as we know. Okay. Okay, let's talk about this U.S. And Iran deal. He claimed that ended. I don't know if it ended or not. I'm getting mixed stories about that, to be honest. So the U.S. and Iran have officially reached a peace deal to end the 4-month war, with the former signing literally supposed to have been scheduled for Friday, January 19, 2026 in Switzerland. Now, this is the first time both sides have declared immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts, including Lebanon. Yeah. So here's the question here. Who announced it first? Well, it seems here Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif broke the news publicly, saying Pakistan mediated the deal. This is what he posted. This is what Trump posted. The peace deal between the United States of America and Islamic Republic of Iran has been reached. We said it again. The peace deal between the United States of America, Islamic Republic of Iran has been reached. That's what he claimed to have happened. You know what? Here, we need to talk about other posts about Trump too, because he posts a lot of other crap too. Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, so here, let's talk about other posts. You see, Trump is known to post a lot of stuff. Trump posts about the status of the war on Truth Social. Trump posted on update saying the U.S.-Iran war was in ceasefire phase, not active combat. That's what he said. He said direct fighting has stopped and that the ceasefire was holding. He said he emphasized that the negotiations were ongoing and that the U.S. was pushing for a final peace agreement. He framed the situation as under control and said the U.S. was in strong position. He warned Iran and its allies not to escalate or ruin the progress. He also said that the U.S. military remained ready, but that the goal was peace, not continued conflict. That's what he claiming. But then we hear in a leaked story that Israel is bombing this and bombing that. They're not even collaborating or holding up their end of the bargain in terms of the peace deal. They're just bombing whatever. And Trump don't seem to freaking care. Let's be realistic here. He has literally lost total control of this freaking war. Let's be honest here. Okay, what did you say? You said John 8:44, King James Version, Isaiah 9:16, King James Version, the child is born and the government shall be upon his shoulder. His name shall be called the mighty. Yeah, that's something. Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned Matthew 12:36, King James Version, but I say unto you that every idle word that man shall speak, that shall give account. Judgment Day. Yeah, we are definitely in Judgment Day. Absolutely. Okay, so that's basically what that is. Now let's talk about. Now he claimed to have confirmed all of this immediately. He said this has been confirmed like now. That's what he's saying. This is what Trump's saying. Okay, Trump posted on Truth Social. The deal is now complete. He authorized reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, even though he don't have no authority of the Strait of Hormuz being open. This is literally him saying that, but he has no authority to say if it's open or not, because Iran currently have that power, although they didn't have that power before, but they have it now. Okay, that's what he's saying. He authorized the removal of the U.S. naval blockade. He's been saying that for weeks and nothing has been happening. He said the Strait will open Friday after signing. Now, this is huge because the Strait has been closed since February, but he claimed that it's open because he seemed to have in his head that he has this unlimited power and he's the king of the world when he is not. You know, I'm starting to think that Netanyahu is making decisions about the war and is telling Trump whatever he wants to hear. And Trump technically don't know what's going on. I think he tells Trump one thing and do another. That's what I'm starting to think. And because the pattern is definitely starting to be conflicted. And someone is not updating someone. There's some miscommunication between him and his staff and what's actually happening, you know, unless Trump is just really a really grade A, 100% pathological liar, you know. I'm saying. So then we have Iran confirmed it too. Now, here's the thing with this here. Iran's Supreme National Security Council said all military operations would cease immediately and permanently. The U.S. blockade would be lifted immediately. Now, Iran will continue negotiating only after U.S. fulfill its commitments. Please understand that. Iran will continue negotiations only after U.S. fulfill its commitments. Okay. Iranian state TV framed it as U.S. being forced to sign. Like they forced to sign because, let's be realistic here, Trump lost the war. Now, what the draft deal? Well, it says here there was a 14-page outline that basically said U.S. lifting oil sanctions, Iran reopening the Strait of Hormuz within 30 days, and permanent ceasefire on all fronts. So what blew up the deal? Well, let's say here. Early that same day, Hezbollah, Iran backfired projectiles into Israel. Israel struck Beirut. So understand that. So there was still conflicting, even though it was a ceasefire, but no one was honoring that ceasefire, primarily Israel, because they never honor any goddamn thing. But is Trump knowing that? Probably not. I think they're telling him one thing and something else is happening. Okay. So Trump warned both sides don't blow up. This was the closest the deal came to collapsing. So another one. Why this matters economically? Well, the Strait of Hormuz closure caused oil, gas, fertilizer shortages for our allies. Not us, because we produce our own oil. So not primarily for us, but for our allies, okay? Global prices spikes because, oil companies, gas companies, they pretty much correlate the same. They are some crooks and they will take advantage of this war and go up on their prices because they just do that and no one's going to tell them to stop, so whatever. So, in the rising inflation of U.S. hit 4.2% after it, Biden got it down to like 3 point something after the COVID pandemic. He got it back down, kind of close to where Obama had it. And then when Trump got in office, it went up a whole, point or so. So, yeah, it went from 3 point something, and now it's up to 4.2%. It's the highest in 3 years. So the ECB even raised interest rate for the first time since 2023 because of the war impact. Make sure you guys hit that like button, okay? So let me write this right here. All right, so the international reaction. Well, Qatar, however you want to pronounce it, welcomed the deal, calling it a step forward, sustainable peace. Now, Europe, UK, Germany, France, Italy said they were willing to lift the sanctions if Iran takes steps on its nuclear power. So, and then there's let me go back. Okay, then there's a domestic reaction. See, Vice President J.D. Vance said it's a great thing for American people. It will help lower energy prices long term. Happy. I don't think no one knows what the hell they're doing. I'm starting to think Netanyahu is the one holding this damn war. He's the one calling the shots. He's just telling everybody else whatever they want to hear. But it's not the truth. He's just telling them whatever the fuck they want to hear. That's what I'm starting to think. So the U.S.-Iran is officially ending the Strait of Hormuz. This is sum it up here. And they claim the Strait of Hormuz were open and a formal peace signing is set for January 19, marking the first permanent ceasefire of the conflict. But here's the real truth. This deal is way worse than Obama's deal. They've given him astronomical amount of money. And Trump reason is because they pretty much killed and devoured everything there. He's saying they devoured everything. They destroyed a lot of stuff. So he's given a reason why they're giving him a lot of money, because they need to replace all of those things instead of what Trump should have said. But, he's never going to admit that because he's a jerk. But you get the gist.
We did $1.5 trillion. We did $1.5 trillion, maybe $2 trillion worth of damage. So somebody's going to have to help them out. There's no guarantee about helping them out, and could be their neighbors will help them out a little bit. I don't know the kind of damage that was done, but we're not investing any money. There was a fake story. There was a fake news story that got a person, a good person. JD made a statement. It was a perfect statement, and they reported it in a very strange way. But that's why it's fake news, I guess. So we don't give.
Okay, Trump is saying here that the story about them investing a lot of money is a fake story, but there is some substantial evidence that that's not true. But let's continue.
Give them money. We don't give them any of that. And what happens is with time, if they behave, if they be a citizen of the world, a reasonable citizen of the world. And I think this group, again, I didn't do this for regime change, but I think this group is regime change. I mean, hey, the first group is dead. One little morning, having breakfast, the whole group, they thought they'd never be caught.
What is he talking about? I don't even think he even knows what the HE double hockey sticks is he talking about. I think he seriously lost. Do y'all have any idea what he's talking about? I mean, seriously.
Because we never bombed during breakfast, but we bombed, and they all 88 people. And I'm not proud of that at all. But the second group came in and they were very unreasonable too. And they were all gone. They were all gone. And then the third group, we've been dealing with them. Couple left this planet, but we've been dealing with them. And again, they've been fine. I mean, I've had a lot easier. I've had some easier ones. They're tough, they're smart.
We never bombed during breakfast. Does he have any idea what the hell he's saying? I think he's serious. You know what? This is embarrassing to watch, but I'm going to watch it.
On Sunday, we reached an agreement with Iran that achieves everything we set out to accomplish, everything and much more. Ending the current conflict, reopening the Strait of Hormuz, and preventing Iran from ever obtaining a nuclear weapon. I let him know. I said, look, if you don't adhere to the agreement, I don't want to do that, but we're going to bomb the hell out of you. And I don't think that they're going to veer from the agreement. What else am I going to do? Am I going to say I'm going to take you to court?
I think he's lost his mind. I think we need to seriously take this man somewhere and get him to do something, because I think he has no idea what the hell he's talking about. I'm gonna be real with you. I think he is seriously gone. I have to say this. This is just being honest.
I have a question about this weekend. Why not stick around for the signing ceremony with this Iran peace deal?
I might.
You might.
Yeah, I might. But I'd rather, this is a memorandum of understanding. It's very important, but it might not be the kind of a document that I should be signing.
There's some element to this where you send the vice president. If it works out, great, you look like a genius for sending him. And if it doesn't work out, it's the vice president's
I like that idea, sure. Well, this way, if it works out, I'm going to take the credit. If it doesn't work out, I'm blaming JD. You better be careful, JD.
Okay, the second video is not showing, but I want to show you guys another video that I have. This is a video from the Midas Touch where Hillary Clinton talked a little bit more about this Iran deal, because remember, she was the Secretary of State, I believe, during the Obama reign, and she partaked in the deal as well. And she kind of brought the deal, got it established, and then she handed over to Obama, and then the rest is history. So here is a little information about that particular deal that was initiated by Hillary Clinton. Let's go ahead and pull her up right quick. All right, here we go. Okay, now this is I'm just going to stream through the clip, so just bear with me here, okay? Okay.
And is breaking her silent this stuff up. If this was in a movie,
hit him 3 times. You've observed him very carefully, obviously. Is he disintegrating? He just turned 80.
I think he is certainly not what he was. He doesn't come across, at least in the way that he presents himself, with as much energy, falls asleep in lots of public meetings. I mean, poor Joe Biden. I mean, shut his eyes, once or twice, but Donald Trump is like falling asleep all the time these days. But part of that is he stays up all night posting on Truth Social. So he's not getting enough sleep anyway, which is pretty disturbing because I don't think people who are sleep deprived make good decisions on top of everything else. But I really think he has a number of traits that have gotten, more obvious. He doesn't even try to hide them. His impulsivity, his immaturity.
Then Hillary Clinton really knows how to get under Donald Trump's skin. She said,
"The diplomatic effort. We started by getting the UN Security Council to impose
reckless and catastrophic.
The diplomatic effort. We started by getting the UN Security Council to impose sanctions, global sanctions on Iran in June of 2010. We then, worked to get secret negotiations started through Oman. And those began with several meetings and with a plan about going forward, and which I handed off to my successor, John Kerry. But these were serious negotiations with high-level people. So when we sat across a table from Iranians, we had our own nuclear physicists there, as did they. We had experienced diplomats, people who had negotiated on many different fronts for many years. That's not the way this administration does its business. And so I think we have both confusion and I think some distrust in the larger region about what our goals were and what our staying power is. So I believe until we see the agreement, which allegedly will be signed on Friday in Geneva, we don't know what's in it, and we don't know what's left out of it, and we don't know, how it's going to be spun, but it doesn't seem to me that it's going to be an effective maneuver by Trump to claim some kind of victory.
And here Hillary Clinton really articulates the threat that Donald Trump poses. And she talks about a term called domain loss. When you're losing, you don't know the law of holes. So you keep on digging and you keep on digging. Let's play this clip right here.
He does represent the threat of authoritarianism, and the people who enable him, who support him, who follow him, have clearly decided that his kind of performance politics, his deliberate cruelty and behavior that has never been seen by any of us in an American president before, is exactly what they want to see for the country. Now, the good news is his favorability is in, the mid-30s. People who had supported him, not because he was a wannabe authoritarian, but because he promised to lower prices and, create a better future for people and their families. They've seen the reality. It doesn't match the rhetoric. And so they have moved away from him, but he is doubling down. He's doubling down on his impulsiveness. And it's very worrisome to me because I'll end with this. I teach at Columbia University now, of course, with the dean there. She and I have been on this stage together. It's called Inside the Situation Room. And we talk about the traits of leaders, their behavior, their psychology. And there is a view that is rooted in how people make decisions, all of us, not just leaders, about what happens when someone finds themselves in what's called the domain of loss. It's a psychological concept. And almost counterintuitively, when people feel they are losing, they very frequently take greater risks. They double down on their behavior. And that's what I'm now worried about, because he's lashing out. He's demanding that we accept his version of reality, which is unhinged from the actual world that we live in and the actual consequences of his actions. So I think we have to be extremely vigilant and just, ready to push back every chance we get.
Yeah, I thought that was a very powerful point. And ridiculous.
Was a constant push, theme by Netanyahu and his then government, the then defense minister, Ehud Barak, the former prime minister. It was relentless. It was a constant push. I remember...
what would he say to you?
What?
What would he say to you?
He would basically say, we need to...
Just in case you guys are lost, she's talking about when Netanyahu tried to get her during the Obama term, trying to get Obama and her, of course, they have to go to the Secretary of State, other levels of security, try to get them to start a war. And she's telling them how they responded. So Netanyahu has been trying to get presidents to do this for a very long time.
You need to support us in attacking Iran. And back then, this was, 2009 to the end of 2012, we had more capacity than Israel did on several fronts to do that. And so there was a constant argument that we would have. And I remember one day I was on the phone for hours with Ehud, with Bibi, with others, and they would say things like, our planes are on the tarmac. And I'd say, well, good luck. I mean, great. Why are you doing this?
Where else would planes be other than in the air?
But on the tarmac, ready to take
off.
Yes. Well, no, they'd be in the hangar, but they were on the tarmac. And you would say things.
So you're saying you were being played
all the time. I mean,
by an ally that receives an enormous amount of aid.
Well, of course.
She talks about Netanyahu's obsessions. Let's play it.
And look, Bibi's been obsessed as long as I've dealt with him with two things: Iran, as you know, and his desire to normalize relations with Saudi Arabia. The first formal meeting I had with him in 2009, probably March, at the State Department, it was absolutely, how can we get normalization with Saudi Arabia, and how do we totally decapitate Iran? And he had this view that I think has become very clear in his, dealings with Trump. Number one, decapitate the regime, it will fall. Number two, do enough bombing and against enough critical infrastructure, try to, disable the military insofar as possible, the people will rise up. And that was just never our read about what was going to happen.
More on Netanyahu here. Let's play it.
And that has not been uprooted yet. So I think, Netanyahu believes that war is his friend, because his political standing is under attack from a lot of different directions. And he wants to contain the opposition by creating conflict so that he tries to rally the country behind him. I think this Iran deal may be, the straw that finally breaks that and creates an opening for his departure in the upcoming elections, and, a government that is certainly going to be very concerned about Israel's security, but might be somewhat more, adept at dealing with these problems in a way that enhances Israel's security.
Then she talks about what her husband, what Bill Clinton, former President Clinton, says when Donald Trump even says he's going to run again. She goes, well, Bill Clinton says that he'll run again too and beat Donald Trump. Let's play it.
Well, David, you and I think alike. I think, number one, if he could figure out a way to stay, he would. My husband likes to say, if he tries to stay, I'm running again.
Oh, wow. That'd be crazy. Trump can't run again. I don't think he wants to. He's not going to be alive to do it. Okay, so you pretty much got a confirmation of everything I pretty much said all along, because I've been saying this for a very long time. I'm just glad that, you guys finally got a confirmation what I've been saying about Netanyahu and the fact that he's a warmongering psychopath and he's been obsessed with wars for a very long time. So I'm glad you guys finally got that confirmation from Hillary Clinton herself, and you can always research this for yourself. Okay, make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you share. Okay, and then we have this. We have the UFC Freedom 250th Anniversary White House event under fire. Now, understand here, you guys, the UFC Freedom 250th Anniversary, a 60 million UFC fight card staged on the South Lawn of the White House for I'm not going to say President Trump, but Donald Trump's 80th birthday has become a flashpoint for controversy, logistical chaos, and political scrutiny. Oh, yes. Apparently, logistical and safety setbacks. The event faced multiple disruptions before fights began. There were fights. It was a catastrophic nightmare. Of course, some news teams, media made it look like it was beautiful. It was a 250, got set off with no chaos. It was perfect. Y'all hating. Lies. You can always twist a bad story to a good story. I've done it several times. No. Behind the scenes, it was a nightmare. Okay, yes. So there was fights that was going on. Severe thunderstorms forced a delay with water. Remember, storm before, so mosquitoes was everywhere. It was catastrophic. Okay, it was sickening. For real. Water pooling across the octagon canvas and staff scrambling to cover equipment. Yeah. Atlanta Black Star, a separate safety scare, emerged when a commercial pilot reported that the UFC lighting rig had blasted intense white glare into the cockpit of a plane. Yeah, approaching Reagan National Airport, raising concerns about the airspace safety in a busy, high-profile area like Atlanta Black Star. So our airline was flying in the sky, and because those strange and really powerful bright lights literally blinded a pilot while he was flying, which could cause catastrophic damage and crashes. So he, spoke to his boss and sent them complaints like their lighting is screwing up our flying zone here. Okay, this is ridiculous. So he got a lot of complaints because of this stupid freaking Look, the point of the matter is Trump started this war because he liked feeling like some kind of king. Matter of fact, there was a video. I want to show you guys this video. This video, what I think purposely and perfectly depicts how Trump saw himself for this particular UFC fighting thing. And I believe I said this in a live show as well, that he sees himself as this kind of old-fashioned king from the Aries age, sitting at the top and watching everybody fighting below him, because he wants to feel like a king. The whole point of this whole thing is so he can feel like a king. He wants to feel like a king by any means necessary. And that's exactly what this whole thing was, of him trying to elevate his ego so he can feel like a king. Let's go ahead and put it on out there, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly what Trump was trying to do. Okay? Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm not done yet. I'll show you the clip just let me just, say this right quick. And there were viral moments and criticism. On the walk to the cage, Trump was seen veering toward UFC President Dana White, prompting speculation about his mobility and composure. Atlanta Black Star, that's the airline, inside fighter Josh Hotkick showed up drunk at weigh-ins and threw up everywhere. Drawing sharp fan backlash, Total Pro Sport, seriously, that's what he represents. Analysts and even Joe Rogan warned the White House setup was a security nightmare and disaster waiting to happen due to crowd density, weather risk, and political sensitivity from Total Pro Sports. So it was a freaking nightmare. I'm not done yet. Okay. And then it was political and legal battles. The event survived a last-minute federal lawsuit challenging the Trump administration approval process, but critics argue significant public resources were used for security, crowd management, logistics, for the WJLA. Supporters said UFC covered the cost and the spectacle drew global attention to Washington because it was so many legal battles and lawsuits. Seriously, it was a nightmare. I'm not done yet. And then a public and media reaction. While some celebrate the historical first UFC at the White House, others called it a waste of freaking time and money and questioned the feasibility of Total Pro Sports, who backed this up. Now, the contrast with the Democrats' low-energy counter-programming was described as cultural divide between the UFC's high-energy spectacle and what some saw as political activism, right journalism. Because he's throwing this huge, catastrophic, big money, bleeding freaking fight when everyone else is suffering and wondering how they're going to pay the bills, how they're going to pay the rent. What the hell is going on? I mean, seriously, retirement is up the window. No one's able to retire anymore. He's throwing this, I'm rich, I'm the powerful guy of whatever, right here in, Washington front lawn. I mean, seriously, that's what we're doing right now. The bottom line is the UFC 250th anniversary delivered a high-profile media-savvy spectacle, but came with weather delays, safety concerns, political controversy, and public criticism. Whether it was a triumph or a freaking disaster, which has been reported, it depends on whether one prioritized spectacle, political branding over logistical and safety concerns. Now, I want you guys to take a look at this. This clip here pretty much tells you how Trump is literally depicted himself in this whole. Let me show you. This is what he sees himself, and then I'll get on to the other clips. Yes, so that's how Trump sees himself. That's literally how he sees himself. Okay. Here is some more behind the scenes info about this catastrophic UFC fight that should never freaking taken place at all on the front house, White House lawn. Okay. Sick.
I remember vividly when the Ukrainian president showed up to the White House for negotiations. He needed help. He said, Mr. President, I need help. And he shows up and it's a sabotage, right? In front of the whole world in the Oval Office, they treat him like garbage. And he wasn't wearing a suit. And this was a big deal. I remember elected Republicans, Trump, MAGA talking heads. How could you not show up in a suit? You're disrespecting the sanctity of the office. You're disrespecting the White House. This is a sacred place. This is a special place. And you show up here without a suit? Americans really care about what this place means. I remember that. And you probably do too. Anyways, completely unrelated to the sanctity of the White House and the White House grounds, the stage has been set for the UFC event where on the White House lawn, we are going to watch dudes give each other brain damage on TV sponsored by Bud Light with our taxpayer dollars. Nobody cares about the sanctity of the office here, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Let's build a giant UFC ring in front of the White House, get a couple sponsors, and we'll just do that. I want to talk about this today and break this down because things in relation to this for Donald Trump are not going well on several fronts. First of all, this is the photo. Again, the sanctity of the office or whatever or something. I have no idea. This is ridiculous. This looks absurd. And again, while the economy is falling apart, while the Iran war rages, inflation is increasing, and people have questions about the golden age of America that was supposedly supposed to come. And it's the highest pace of inflation, or the highest rate of inflation, I should say, in the last, 3.5 years? Consumer sentiment is near or at an all-time low. Inflation is killing people's wages. I mean, wages were outpacing inflation for a bit. That's all gone. I mean, all of those wages outpacing inflation have essentially been erased. And so Donald Trump decides, I'm going to use $60 million at least of your taxpayer dollars to build this, and people are not happy. We're going to start with the poll numbers. Before we do, it means a lot if you go right down below. Hey, like and subscribe here on the Adam Mockler channel. I am not Adam Mockler. My name is Chris Mowry. I do a daily video here on the Adam Mocker channel. It would mean so much to me if you go right down below, hit like and subscribe, share the video out with a friend or family member. Adam and I appreciate you, each and every one of you so much, truly. And make sure you check out my YouTube channel as well. You guys are all the best. We love you. And I hope you're having a good weekend. All right, let's start here. These poll numbers are actually like shockingly low, especially amongst Republicans for Donald Trump. Take a listen.
Just say this much. They do not like it. They don't like it. I like you, Omar, but Americans don't find this thing to be appropriate. Take it here. Take a look here. UFC White House fights are appropriate. Just 16% overall. And among Republicans, even among Republicans, you know, the diehard base Republican Party with Trump through thick and thin, just 31% of Republicans. His approval rating amongst Republicans overall, as you know, usually hovers a little bit north of 80%. So we're talking 50 points lower here. You know, this overall, you know, being 16%, you know, what is it, like 28% of Americans, you know, believe in telepathy. So this is even below that.
Does this fall into a broader pattern with the White House of voters' minds?
Yeah, I think this is the big problem here, Omar, which is, you know, Americans just don't think that Donald Trump and this White House is in touch with them because, you know, they put on stuff like that Americans don't.
You guys see all this trash? Look at all this trash. Look at all this freaking trash. Oh, yeah. And you know, Trump and his little help staff is lazy as hell, judging from what I hear from insiders. The White House is a disgusting mess. He has totally gutted the White House. It's no longer an historical, beautiful, clean place anymore. It's a disgusting mess. So the next president that comes in there gonna have a lot of crap to clean up. For real. Sorry, I was eating something.
Breaking news, a plot to attack the White House discovered and stopped.
To make matters worse, he want to use this moment to say again, there was another assassination attempt. It's been literally running the street that it's all made up, and he's just using it as a reason to, again, fund that stupid ballroom. Watch.
2 Southern California men are among the suspects in a conspiracy to carry out a bombing and mass shooting at the UFC fight this past weekend. And Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand is here now with more on the plot and how it was uncovered. Jory?
Guys, this could have been an historically devastating attack on the White House. A group of men from around the country, including here in Southern California, were arrested this weekend for allegedly plotting to hit the White House during the UFC fight Sunday with explosives-laden drones and guns. According to newly unsealed court papers, at least 5 people have now been arrested and charged with plotting this attack. Text messages obtained by the FBI and Secret Service show discussions on positions for snipers, where to launch drones that would have had explosives attached to them, and escape routes for the attackers. Among those arrested, 2 locals, 24-year-old Brian Roa of Cali Mesa and 32-year-old Michael Thomas from Pinion Hills.
It was an active plot, yes, involving purported claim to be plan to use drones, snipers, etc.
It's a bit grandiose, but you just never know. Could part of it have worked? And the answer is yes.
Document says the group believed the U.S. needed to be, quote, torn down so that it could be rebuilt, and that some in the group believed people who were involved with Jeffrey Epstein should not be governing the country. It doesn't appear clear whether the group would have been able to pull this attack off, though. They did have guns and tactical gear, but they apparently only had 1 drone and no explosives. Still, the government is taking this plot extremely seriously. The Secret Service saying today there are still suspects at large. If found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder, those would face life in prison.
Breaking news.
I can almost guarantee no one tried to kill Trump. He just made this crap up. They trying to capitalize on here so he can get that stupid ballroom, because he immediately came out with an announcement saying this is why we need the ballroom. Give me a fucking break. Trust me, if someone trying to assassinate Trump, we all know. Okay. Anyway, moving right along here. All right, and then we're going to talk about Obama's Presidential Center. Apparently, the Obama Presidential Center held its major opening ceremony on the south side of Chicago, the neighborhood where Barack and Michelle built their early lives, careers, and community work. It was framed as a homecoming, a legacy project, Okay. A community investment, a cultural education hub, not a library full of documents, but a living center focused on leadership, civic engagement, and youth programs. Barack message. Barack's remarks center on Chicago roots, how the South Side shaped. I'm sorry, I said how the South Side shaped him. Community empowerment. The center is for youth people. Legacy, not about him, but about the next generation. Hope and civic duty, encouraging people to stay engaged. Gratitude to Michelle, Chicago, and supporters. The tone reflective, warm, grounded, forward-looking. He emphasized that the center is meant to inspire leadership, not glorify his presidency. Michelle Obama message was, it remarked on focus, growing up on the South Side, representation, young people seeing themselves in leadership, education and opportunity, and community pride, the importance of home. And the tone was emotional, personal, and powerful. She highlighted how meaningful it was to bring something back to the neighborhood that raised her. So the symbolic theme of this center was the opening carried strong themes of returning to roots, uplifting Black communities, legacy through service, youth empowerment, Chicago pride. It wasn't political. It was the cultural community center and legacy focus. Now, what the center includes: a museum, a public library branch, a community garden, a forum for events, youth leadership programs, and spaces for civic training. It's designed to be a living, active space, not a static monument, anything of the kind, but a memorabilia and a step toward preserving our history. A museum built by Black people, with Black people being a narrative and the construction, architect, and narrator of the Black museum, versus a Caucasian building a museum and they put in there whatever their interpretations of their history is. That's literally what this is. Here are some clips.
One day, when
copyright. But here it is right here. Isn't it gorgeous? Eating chips. I can't wait to go. I'm going to go. I'm going to go and look at this museum. I'm going to go. I will be going and visiting this museum. Straight up. I have to experience that. Hopefully I run into Michelle Obama and Barack. That'd be so cool.
On Friday, it's Juneteenth, federal holiday. It's also the official opening day of the brand new Barack Obama Presidential Center in Chicago. All former living presidents except Trump were invited to the grand opening ceremony on Thursday. But then on Friday, the Obama Presidential Center opens to the general public. And who knows, maybe that's important context as to why the White House is going to release the terms of the Iran surrender on Friday. I should tell you, here at MS Now, we will have live coverage from Chicago all day this Thursday for the ceremony at the Obama Presidential Center. And then on Friday, the day it opens to the public, we're going to have a 2-hour special hosted by our colleague Michelle Norris, who not only got an early look inside the center, but she also spoke exclusively with President and Mrs. Obama. That special starts at 9 p.m. Eastern on Friday night. You will not want to miss it.
I would not be missing it. I would definitely be enjoying this whole thing. It sounds so beautiful. I would love to be there. Absolutely. It sounds so inspirational and monumental and historic, I might go. In disguise, but I'm going to go. The Obama Center opening was a homecoming celebration where Barack and Michelle emphasized community, legacy, and empowering the next generation. That's what this whole thing was for. To empower the next generation to build things like this, because a lot of our new generation is not thinking about things of that nature. I know they try not to do what a lot of our ancestors did, but we should definitely follow in their example and doing a lot of things our ancestors did, because our ancestors weren't afraid to riot. They weren't afraid to protest. They weren't afraid to speak up for their rights. They were so brave back then. Now we're just hiding behind our computers and posting on, social media and whatnot. Maybe we should take a page out of their book and actually do some action instead of just sitting back waiting for things to happen in certain circumstances. But Kamala Harris, let's go to talk about her. She had a different interpretation of this whole thing. you know. But before we do that, here are some more clips.
Oh, I feel the energy shift.
Hi.
How are you?
So nice to see you. Before we get any commentary in, we just got to soak it in.
It's us. And
It is so
all
pretty.
of the stories
Look
within
at
the story.
Your house was behind me.
Euclid. Oh my God, you got everything in there.
Now, the real question is, how come you didn't dye my hair in the photo?
It's
Don't they usually touch it up a little bit?
I thought about it.
What was your sort of sequence?
So I did the drawing first of the two of you. We read all your books. We listened to all the interviews you all have done, podcasts and videos. My whole studio got to know you. I wanted to make these decisions that tapped into those memories. So when you saw this, it felt familiar. It is beautiful. Was there anything that surprised you? It was good. It was so challenging because it made me push myself. It took me out of my comfort zone.
Well, it looks fantastic. In fact, I'm going to have a suit made with this.
You know how long I've been wanting this woman to do something with and for me. It was an honor. I mean, we did it.
That painting is so gorgeous. It is so beautiful. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to jot our name down for the future.
Hang tight, my joy riders. We're almost to the top. The Oval Office room was a real-life replica of the actual room in the White House during Obama's presidency. Surrounding the office was pictures of memorable moments that took place in this exact room. This room really brought me back to the memory of when I went to the real White House in Washington, D.C. back in 2023. As a visitor, you're allowed a max of 2 photos behind the desk, and being able to sit there was such a surreal moment for me. I felt empowered, overwhelmed, exhilarated, and accomplished all at once. Truly an unforgettable experience. In the Oval Office room, they had a statue of MLK and Abraham Lincoln, but it was the little details that really did it for me. They even kept his infamous BlackBerry that he used to carry around with him while he was in office. The Presidential Center really delivers on its mission of the People's House. Yes, we can. Yes, we did. And we made it to level 8, my favorite number. 8 symbolizes new beginnings, and that's exactly the energy it gives as you look out over the city from the top. Don't forget to look up when you're up there to get a stunning view in the Mandela Sky Room. After all that walking, the hunger is real. Now time to head down to the restaurant on the bottom floor and get our grub on. Thanks for watching, my Joy Riders. I hope you enjoyed the tour.
Isn't this amazing? Oh, you guys have to go. Go, go, go. It's amazing. I've been stalking it. Seriously, I want to go so badly. Here's Michelle Obama making her speech.
He's really messed up. I'm giving him some time because this beautiful skirt that my stylist Meredith Coop picked out, that is a portrait, my favorite portrait of my mom. He didn't know it existed until just a few minutes ago. And I've had a few weeks to settle down in the beauty of this skirt, but it's messing him up. Marion would have been so proud. She was so proud of her son-in-law, and the man that he is and has been to our family. Always dreaming probably way too big, but always pulling it off. I love you.
That skirt is so gorgeous, and I love when a man is not afraid to show his emotion, you know, no matter what position or title he's in. I think that is beautiful. I mean, why not be vulnerable? We are in the times of authenticity, and vulnerability and showing your true emotion is definitely needed. You know, I always tell my husband, and I try to tell other husbands as well, if you can't be vulnerable around your wife, who can you be vulnerable around? I mean, seriously. If anyone can be vulnerable around her, she can cry and be vulnerable. Why can't you? She understands. She probably even like it or appreciate it more and be able to console you in a very unconditional way. So husbands, it's okay to cry around your wife. Unless you have a really crude wife and y'all need to get some counseling, okay? But it's okay to get teary-eyed around your wife. If you can't do it around your wife, I mean, y'all need to really discuss the dynamic of your relationship. Because I'm sure you've done a lot of other embarrassing things around her. Why not cry? So anyway, that was that. Now, let's go back to Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has something to say about Trump as well, who the real winner was before Elon Musk rigged the election. Yeah, yeah. Her latest speech focused on unity, stability, and restoring trust with the three big themes. First one is national stability and leadership. Harris emphasized the need for steady, predictable leadership, protecting democratic institutions, lowering political temperature, restoring trust in government. She framed stability as a national priority. Second was economic relief and middle-class support. She highlighted lowering costs for families, protecting Social Security and Medicare, expanding access to child care, supporting working parents, strengthening the middle class. This was aimed at economic reassurance. Oh, yes. And in her foreign policy and global standing, she addressed the importance of strong alliances, which we have literally kind of strained during the Trump presidency. He's messing up our alliances, also known as NATO. Okay. Maintain a U.S. credibility abroad, which is starting to deplete. Okay. And descend. Preventing unnecessary conflict. Supporting diplomacy over escalation, which is some Trump don't know how to do. Or Netanyahu, the warmongering jerk. She framed America's global role as responsibility and restraint. Okay. Now, unity and social cohesion. Now, Harris leaned heavily into bringing their country together, reflecting political extremism, protecting civil rights, ensuring equal treatment under the law. Her tone was calm, firm, inclusive. With that said, take a look at these clips.
First of all, this is a war the American people did not want. This is a war of choice. This is a president who has proven himself to be entirely self-indulgent. And we will see what happens in the coming hours and days in terms of the negotiation. And really, it's a concept of an agreement and where it ends up.
But to be clear, if you were president, you never start this war.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And let's be clear about this. Let's be clear about this. Thank you, Tim. Let's be clear about this. Whatever is being negotiated, this president is going to declare victory and will end up where we were after the JCPOA and call that a victory, the JCPOA that he withdrew from.
Now, you guys remember me saying in another live show, if you were even listening, to JCPOA is what he withdrew from. He kind of like seriously dismantled that, along with a lot of other programs and partnerships and agreements we had. He, Trump don't know anything about JCPOA. This is seriously his counterparts and his colleagues telling him to do this because he doesn't know anything.
Do you think that's a BS investigation?
I predicted just about everything that has happened with this administration.
You say I told you so?
I don't say I told you so. That's kind of obnoxious. I don't say that, but the reality is many of us predicted, and it didn't require much creative thought because he told us most of what we knew would happen, including that he would go after his political enemies using the Department of Justice. I am not surprised that he may be using the Department of Justice to go after a political enemy in the current governor of California. And this is why I do believe this, upon many other examples of what is essentially, you're going to ask me questions about the current president, I'm going to be candid, what is essentially the most callous, corrupt, and incompetent presidential administration America's ever experienced. And for that reason, I have no question or doubt that we will win the midterms. It's important, and I say this to all of my friends here who are not from the United States. Please do know and recall that in the 2024 election, 1/3 of the electorate voted for the current president. 1/3 voted for us, 1/3 did not vote, which means 2/3 of the American electorate did not vote for this. And so when there are questions being raised among our friends around the world, who are the American people, I think it is important to know and remember that the American people do stand, the majority of us, for the alliances that we have formed over decades, do stand for the importance of America being, the chancellor talked about this, reliable as a partner, being an authority among many on important issues, including this changing climate and what we must do to save this dear planet of ours.
We really dropped the gauntlet. She should have been president. I mean, this is seriously so depressing to watch. I get kind of emotional every time I watch anything, her speeches, because she did win. And we all know she won. They just rigged the election and we're stuck with this jackass. So anyway, her core message was the speech central line, and I'm paraphrasing here. We move forward when we move together with clarity, compassion, and courage. Paraphrasing, that's pretty much what she said. She positioned herself as stabilizing, unifying figure, which is a clear sign of her zodiac, which is a Libra. Libra are notorious for stabilizing and fairness. They're very articulate, they're very hardworking, they're very compassionate people. So she's a Libra, and this is what Libras do. That's why a lot of Libras are in law or justice or something like that. So just to sum it up, Harris's speech was about stability, unity, economic relief, and restoring trust, delivered in a calm, steady tone meant to reassure the public. It was dignified, it was educated, it was very diplomatic, and you can understand it all. You wasn't getting confused. You didn't feel like someone was trying to sell you a car. It wasn't insulting. It was a way that a leader should present themselves in a very professional manner, talking about the demographic in a whole and not being selfish and constantly lying like J.D. Vance and Trump and all the rest of those little stupid homeboys. Now, in the terms of lying, let's talk about that a little bit. We're going to move on
First of all,
Don Jr. We're going to talk about Lil Jr. here, okay? Now, there seems to have been a leaked video on X of Don Jr. here, Lil Jr. with some substance. You understand? Donald Trump Jr. has a history of doing cocaine or whatever other white substances. I don't know what it is. I never done drugs at all. All I had marijuana, and that was a gazillion years ago, okay? But I don't know what he's doing. White powder. Y'all can put it in the comment section. What else comes in white? Only thing I know is cocaine. There's other stuff coming in white substances. I don't know. So anyway, Don Jr. here was seen with some white substances. Maybe you guys can tell me what this white substance is, because I don't know what it is. What was that, you guys? Was that what I think it is? I mean, it's not candy because he's unwinding it. Hold on, let me see. See, there it is, right there. Look at that. See, it's not candy. Look at that. It's not candy. And then he takes, I don't know. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comment section what that is. If you guys know all about drugs, I don't know. But their bystander said he sniffed it. That's what they're saying. I don't know. That's what they're saying. Hold up. I'm sorry. I had my mute on. I thought you guys heard everything I just said. I am so sorry. Let me say everything over again. I hear I'm talking and no one's listening to me. And considering you guys are not, whatever. Anyway, let me just repeat what I said. Don Lemon's interview with Ashley St. Clair, tight, factual, and semi-ready with political disclaimer in mind. Don Lemon's interview with Ashley St. Clair centered on escalating political climate and administration handling of civil liberties, with Lemon pressuring her on inconsistencies between public messaging and behind-the-scenes actions. Now, St. Clair defended administration decision while accusing the media of manufacturing panic, but Lemon challenged her with specific examples, including the treatment of journalists, the Iran negotiations, and the fallout from recent protests. Now, the conversation grew tense as Lemon questioned whether the administration rhetoric was fueling division, while St. Clair insisted critics were misinterpreting intentions. The interview ultimately highlighted the widening gap between official narratives and public perception, leaving viewers with more questions than answers. As always, confirming details with a trusted source. Here are the clips.
Do you think he has issues with certain people? I mean, trans people, Black people?
That has been something that I've wrestled with because I feel like I have to call it out, but at the same time, like I have a child with this individual, but it became clear to me that he did have a fixation that was more motivated by race and gender than I wanted to realize earlier on.
Do you think he's racist?
Yes.
You think Elon Musk is racist?
Yes.
Do you think he is homophobic?
Yes.
You do.
He would constantly, too. He was like obsessed with talking about Sam Altman. I mean, we would be in bed. Like he's pillow talking, saying, Sam just runs around San Francisco having gay orgies.
Why is he so interested in Sam Altman's sex life?
Because it's one of his enemies.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Do you... Can I read them?
Yes.
I'm feeling more optimistic after tonight. And then you hearted it, right? And tomorrow we unleash the anomaly in the matrix. And then you did 2 exclamation points. And then I don't know what that, and then you said who, and then he said haha.
Yeah.
Okay. This is not something on the chessboard, so they will be quite surprised. And then you hearted that. And this is on October 5th of 2024. And he said, lasers from space. And then you said, haha, finally a focus on the Jewish vote. You meant Jewish space lasers?
Yeah,
from
I was
Marjorie
making
Taylor
a Marjorie
Greene?
Taylor Greene joke.
I have over 10,000 lasers in space right now, he said to you. And then...
So he doubles down and he quantifies...
Yeah. If your space lasers seriously end up being the anomaly in the Matrix...
Okay, that one's so great.
Let me see. Matrix that takes back America, I will be convinced that...
It's so cringe. I can't.
Do you mind if I read it?
Yes, I
Okay.
do. I'm so embarrassed with myself. I was like, so pick me.
Let me read it. Okay.
After that interview you did with him and that fell apart, they then needed to smear Don Lemon. He was reaching out to me and other influencers and providing us confidential information about your contract negotiations.
Are you serious?
I would hand up, be on the stand for you.
I'm shocked. I probably shouldn't be.
You cannot just punch the most powerful people in the world in the face and then, wonder why they're upset.
Do you fear for your life?
Yes.
That's a fucking cult.
You can't just change your mind once you're in that deep. You have to blow up your whole life.
Elon Musk, people are going to go, like, what were you doing? Like, what were you thinking?
He seems rather confident that he had some sort of impact in the election.
You've really opened my eyes to a lot.
And if I'm lying, please sue me because I would love discovery.
There it is in a nutshell. I'm assuming a lot of you already saw this on the show already, but there it is in a nutshell. Okay. Go check that out. All right, so here are some random headlines. I'm just going to go through this right quick. I know where we're gonna get. This is the long show. I'm gonna try to end it at 45. I'm gonna try to end it at 45, but it may more than likely won't. And it'll be pretty much a while before I'm able to do another live show again because I have some things to do and this point is to continue doing these live shows. I'm not getting paid for it. Okay, so we're gonna discuss random headlines here. The first one is Trump further guts education department by shifting oversight of special ed, civil rights. I mean, but he has money for this stupid UFC. He got money for the ball. He got money. Millions, and Ivanka is trying to open up resorts overseas, so he got money for everything else. But and his little modern day KKK / ICE members, he got money for all that shit, but not for these particular programs apparently. So what happened in NPR on yesterday? Well, the Trump administration announced a major restructuring the U.S. Department of Education. So the Trump administration announced a major restructuring of the U.S. Department of Education. Special education programs are being moved to the Department of Health and Human Services now. Civil rights enforcement for students is being moved to the Department of Justice now, the DOJ. So yes, the civil rights is going to be controlled by the racist ass fucking DOJ. And we already know how they handle Epstein files. So you can just imagine what them little Jim Crow fuckers are going to do with the civil rights. Yeah, there it is in a nutshell, people. Now, this is one of the biggest shifts in federal education oversight in decades. It's going to be hell trying to get this shit reversed. Now, what exactly is moving? Well, let's see here. The OSERs and HHS, which is the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services, which oversees the Individuals with Disability Education Act, which is known as the IDEA, would now be run by HHS, which is also run by Trump and his homeboys. Oh, yeah. The OCR DOJ, the Office of Civil Rights now, which handles discrimination cases involving disability, race, gender, and national origin, went now under the Department of Justice. And we can imagine how them racist fuckers going to do and what they're going to do. Yeah. So what the administration says they're doing, why they're doing this, Education Secretary Lyndon McConnell, said the goal is to reduce the federal micromanagement. Sure. Let's say that, bitch. Improve efficiency and align programs with agency best positioned to run them. The administration frame it is streamlining move. That's what's going on here. So disability rights and civil rights groups says it's dangerous because it weakens protections for disabled students. It dismantles key functions of the Department of Education, which it does. It moves civil rights enforcement into a more politicized environment and about racist fuckers, and we know how they handle the Epstein files. So we can just imagine how they're gonna handle this. So yeah, Denise Forte of Ed Trust called it another vindictive attempt to undermine public education. Advocate says HHS is now equipped to enforce IDEA and the DOJ may deprioritize school-based discrimination cases. So the bigger context is this is part of Trump's long-stated goal to shrink or eliminate the Department of Justice and try to reverse times back to civil rights times. While every other country is going forward, they're trying to go back 60 years and seriously dismantle all the things that we put in place. That's literally what they're doing. They're fucking up everything. They're making racism the center of everything they're doing. Even though we're at a time right now where racism is not being highly valued and highly proved upon because we are in a new age, but these little old fuckers are still stuck back there. But whatever. So over the past year, multiple offices have already moved into other agencies, believe it or not. So just to sum it up, the Trump administration is shifting special education oversight to HHS and student civil rights enforcement to DOJ. A move, more critics say, guts the Department of Education and weakens the protections of vulnerable students, which means they're not going to fund. First of all, they already gutted like $100 million from the Department of Education already. So public schools more than likely will be closing down, which means kids will be on the street, which means crime will be pretty much increased. Yeah, let's go ahead and say that. And it'll be pretty much catastrophic and chaotic. And then you know what they'll probably do? They'll probably go ahead and pump drugs into the inner cities where the poverty level is high, and then we have a whole repeat of the 70s to the early 90s. Yeah, because that's what these little sinful, evil son of a bitches are trying to do. Literally, they have to go. We have to seriously gut this thing before it goes freaking out of freaking control. This is freaking ridiculous. Our kids are suffering because of this son of a bitch. You know what? I am so getting pissed off about this. I need to move on to the next one. I'm sorry. Okay, now let's talk about the Trump delay his own national intelligence nominee. Now, AP News here. AP News, Jay Clayton, the voting bill, what happened? Let's find out what happened. The article is about former SEC Chair Jay Clayton testifying before Congress regarding Trump's new federal voting bill and the political fight surrounding it. Now, here's the full picture and click structure here. Okay, it says why Jay was there. Well, it seems that Jay Clayton, Trump former SEC chair and now his special counsel on election integrity, testified before the House and the administration new voting bill. Now, the bill is part of Trump's border push to tighten the federal voting rules so he can rig the election, restrict mail-in ballots, even though he used mail-in ballots and so does his counterparts, but he's trying to make it hard for other people to vote because he's a jerk, and create a national voter ID requirement. Okay, centralized election oversight. And Clayton is the public face of the policy rollout. Yeah. So what the voting bill would do, well, according to AP reporting, the bill includes a national voter ID requirement, strict limits in mail-in voting, new federal standards for voting rolls, more federal authority over state election procedures. This is one of the most sweeping federal election proposals in decades. Why Congress is fighting over it? Well, Democrats argue the bill suppresses voting, target mail-in ballots, undermines state control of elections, is part of Trump's long-term in shaping election rules. Republicans argue it. Yeah, Republicans argue it protects election integrity, prevents fraud, creates uniform national standard. Bullshit. They just making it hard for the broader demographic or the people with limited means, the middle class and the third middle class. They're making it hard for them to vote. And minorities, meaning people of color, basically. And I hate to tell them, but people of their status and class, it would be hard for them to vote too, because a lot of them do mail-in votings. But whatever, they try to do whatever they can to rig the election. Basically, yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so why Clayton said it in his testimony. Clayton defended the bill, common sense, uniform, necessary for public trust. He said the federal government needs stronger authority to ensure secure and consistent elections. He also denied that the bill would suppress votes. That's bullshit, that's lie. When Democrat pressed him on, Democrats grilled Clayton about whether the bill will disproportionately affect minority voters, whether the administration had evidence of widespread fraud, whether Trump was using the bill to influence the 2026 midterm, which is yes. Clay repeatedly said the bill was about consistency, not politics. Now, the bigger context is that this hearing is part of Trump's broader effort to reshape the federal election law, centralize oversight. Okay. And of course, restrict mail-in voting, push through national voting database. It also happening while multiple states are suing the administration over earlier executive orders to voting. So in summary, AP reports, that's Associated Press, reports that Jay Clayton defended Trump's sweeping new voting bill in Congress, while Democrats accused the administration of trying to restrict voting and centralize election control, which is what they're pretty much doing in a nutshell, whether they want to admit it or not, and they probably won't. Okay, now we need to talk about this tropical storm that's literally hitting around the Gulf of Mexico. It seems that tropical storm Arthur has officially formed in Gulf of Mexico, just off the Middle East of Texas coast. It is the first named storm of 2026 Atlantic hurricane season. Now, this is really important, whoever stays around there. Where warnings are in effect, the National Weather Service has issued tropical storm warnings for upper Texas coast and Louisiana coast. Now, warning means tropical storm conditions are expected within 12 to 24 hours. Now, the National Hurricane expanded warnings further into Texas and the String Strait. Remember I told you Texas and Florida will be hit a lot during this time for a number of reasons. Now, the current strength, it says max sustained winds up to 45 miles per hour. Movement is hugging the Texas coastline. Time is expected to move inland around Wednesday night. So around tomorrow. Weakening will weaken after leaving the Gulf and moving over Louisiana. Now, the major threat, heavy rain and flooding. Arthur is expected to dump 5 to 10 inches of rain with isolated pockets up to 20 inches from Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida Panhandle. Now, life-threatening flash flooding is possible. A flood watch is active from Houston to Atlanta, so please look out, okay? Now, the storm surge. Well, a storm surge of 2 to 4 feet is possible from the Port of Bolivar, Texas, to Morgan City, Louisiana. Now, this flood can normally dry coastal areas. However, The severe weather risk is the Storm Prediction Center issued a level 2 slight risk for eastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, including New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Gulf Port, and Hattiesburg. Isolated weak tornadoes are possible. Now, as I said, the timeline is Wednesday night, Thursday morning, Thursday evening, Friday morning. Okay, so please stay in this from Atlanta to all the way to Florida. Just want to point that out. In summary, Tropical Storm Arthur is bringing dangerous floods, rain, storm surge, and severe weather to Texas, Louisiana, and Southeast as it moves inland, and it's supposed to be really, really big and really, really bad. Let's hope it's not a Hurricane Katrina, but they're not ruling out nothing at the point. And I do have a couple clips.
Really gusty winds here now. It's really not raining that hard. It's just that it's raining sideways and just coming in like this. You can see, especially looking at the trees, just how strong the wind is right here, right now, just off the seawall in 61st Street here in Galveston. We're under a tropical storm watch here. Same thing for Brazoria and Chambers County. City of Galveston's obviously warning folks to expect more rain throughout the day and elevated tides. They're just asking folks to be careful driving around, especially when it's dark outside and tougher to see where there may be some flooded areas. And just a reminder from the city, they're asking folks, do not drive around barricades. Really gusty.
Tropical Storm Arthur has formed in the Gulf, which means we officially have our first named storm of the season. Tropical storm watches and warnings are in place across parts of the Gulf Coast ahead of the system. Strong winds are expected from Texas all the way to South Carolina as the storm tracks inland and across the southeast. Gusts over 40 miles per hour could be seen in places like Charleston. Heavy rain and flash flooding are the main concerns from Arthur. Rain totals of 5 to 10 inches are expected with locally higher amounts possible. Stay tuned with us at weather.com and the Weather Channel app for all the latest updates on the storm.
So stay safe, ladies and gentlemen. All right, with that said here, let's go with royal news. We definitely got something with royal news. Yeah, I haven't played my royal intro in a grip because I haven't had any royal news. I'm going to enjoy playing it this time.
Taken by the view like we were in Paris, like we were
that in a very long time. All right, let's talk about Kate Williams and the kids. They were booed. This is serious. During Truth to Color on June 13, 2026, and anti-monarchy protesters from the group Republic booed loudly as Kate Middleton and her children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, passed in their carriage, that stolen carriage from ancestors. Now, this wasn't a small moment. It was loud enough that Kate looked directly at the protesters. The kids noticed the booing, and videos went viral immediately, but Kate stayed composed to continue waving. Take a look at these clips. Well, hold on. Let me just finish what I have to say first. Okay. Why were they booed? Well, the protest group Republican targeted the event with "Not My King" signs, which they have been saying for a very long time, "Down with the Crown" banners, posters of Prince Andrew from the Epstein files. Their message was aimed at, because no one wanted King Charles to be king, seriously. King Charles, Prince William, who's literally here is in between the mind frame of retaliation and childish thinking and spoil and entitlement of Trump, but not stupid. And just like his dad. Between those two mind frames and actions, that's what William is being framed as, having a demeanor and political outlook when it comes to a lot of, political stances. Yeah, and I want you guys to check out some videos on how he treat Kate. Seriously, he treat her like a child. You know what? My anger is getting there. Anyway, so the message was aimed at King Charles, Prince William, the monarchy as an institution, and specifically the Prince Andrew scandal, which they seem to not be talking about. They're trying to sweep under the rug. They're still trying to save it from the headlines I see. They wanted the monarchy abolished and used the parade, the king's official birthday, to make noise. Oh, yeah. So how Kate reacted? Well, multiple outlets reported the same thing. She stayed calm, composed, and unbothered. She gave the protester a cool glance. She kept waving and didn't break posture. She's a civilized woman. Her reaction has been described as ice cold or unamused, but controlled, like she was taught, like a nice, obedient wife and woman would do. Her kids reacted, though. Prince George, Charles, and Louis heard the boy and looked toward the crowd, but they didn't react outwardly, but you can tell their facial expression was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So I know they had a lot of questions. They stayed seated and composed, though. Louis, as usual, became the star later in the balcony, but during the booing, he stayed quiet, okay? So the bigger contest, this is part of a growing anti-monarchy movement in the UK. They don't want a king anymore. They want it to be elections, just like the US. Troop the Color has had protests for years, but this is the first time the booing directly hit Kate and the children so visibly. So the protesters also tied their message to Prince Andrew's arrest, his Epstein connections, demands for transparency. So the booing wasn't about Kate personally. It was about the institution and in the whole. Here's the clip, or clip, so to speak.
Morning, friends. Happy Monday. How the heck you doing? Well, first, the royalists were telling us that the glares didn't happen and that these images were all AI. And today we found out that the gift that keeps on giving, the Daily Mail, shares the same view as many, the majority of the great British working public. Kate did glare at the anti-monarchists. I don't think the look was that helpful. The kids were not being booed. The royal family were being booed. The system that we're in that's archaic was being booed. And the lack of transparency over Andrew, bad behavior and finances were all being booed. It's a shame the kids were there and had to see it. Maybe that will spark a debate in the Wales household about the future of the non-working royal family and whether they should be around. And just to add to this, in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see that there are now articles sprouting up all over the international media telling us how cold Kate is in private. For cold, read detached, unfriendly, private. I don't think any of those three attributes should be associated with a future unelected head of state in the UK. What do I know? My opinion's not important. Yours is. Comments are open. Tell the world what you think.
They had the most worried look on their faces. Oh my gosh. But you know, whatever. Anyway, they live. You can hear the boo a lot more here, but it's still low. See? Yeah. You know what? They have to learn. They have to learn.
This is exactly what Deep Rangers, Royal Family fans, Sicko fans, this is exactly what they want for Meghan. That every time she steps out, people boo her. Some of them even go on to wish evil on her. Some even say they'll attack her. That's how bad, horrible, and vile Royal Family fans are. But instead of people booing Meghan and Harry, especially Meghan, people boo the Royal Family. People boo Kate because a lot of people are tired of the Royal Family. A lot of people want it abolished because they don't see the point of them. Kate and William are so dull, in my opinion. They're so dull and uninspiring. Like, nobody actually knows what they do. So people go and boo them. So they keep wishing people boo Meghan and do all sorts of things so when she goes out. But instead, it keeps happening to the royal family. Even King Charles, people boo him. Be careful what you wish for. When you wish evil for somebody who's never wronged you or harmed you in any way, it manifests in different forms. And this is it now. People don't boo Megan. People are not interested in booing Megan. Real normal sane people aren't interested in booing Megan because why? What's she done? Nothing. Poor Kate. She didn't like the booing at all, did she?
There is no show. All right, so now we're going to move on here. So just to give you the color 2026 by anti-monarchy protesters, and Kate handled it with calm control and composure. And yes, he is right. In private, Kate is just as cold and yeah, just being real here. All right, hold on. There's one more clip I'm going to show you guys real quick. This particular clip here. Now, for some reason, I don't know what happened, but this man managed to get past the barricades and walk past. And Kate was like, "What was that?" But it's not even so much like who was that, because I would have done the same thing. I want you to pay attention to Williams' behavior, because his behavior is seriously just confirming what we all saw. He's so controlling of her. If y'all listen to half of the stuff that he says, sir, let's sit down quickly. He tells her when to sit down, when to hurry up, tell her when to stop talking. He rushed her all the time. He treated her like she's a freaking child. I mean, he and I will be, you don't want to know what I do. I do have class, and this has happened to me in my marriage. I just won't go with him in public anymore. I go by myself, or I just won't go with him because you just, no. I don't think he knows how he acts. Maybe he does know how he acts. He just doesn't care. Just watch. Okay, you guys see that? I mean, watch William. Look, watch. Hey, maybe I'm looking at it incorrectly. You tell me below if I'm looking at it correctly, but I don't think I am. Anyway, here is the celeb news here. I need to hurry up because I'm hearing my people out there like, okay, hurry up. You said she's going to be done in an hour and a half.
You're blinded by the action. You need that.
Interesting.
Blinded by the action. You need that.
Interesting. Starting up here, it has been reported Nicki Minaj being stalked and may come out with a gospel album. Not sure if that's true. It has been reported Nicki Minaj is being stalked, among other things. Take a look at these clips.
being stalked by an anonymous source. According to DJ Academics, there's a whole hit list of celebrities they believe are funded by a certain political party, and that list
video. I'm gonna play the last video again because I'm not sure if you guys heard it or not. I don't know if it was muted, but let me find out. I'm just gonna play it again just in case.
Trump and AI. Let's talk. Nicki Minaj's two favorite things, Trump and AI. Let's talk about it. So yesterday was the president's birthday, and Nicki Minaj decided to honor that by posting some AI photos on Twitter. And let's just look through them. First, there's her and Trump, where Nicki Minaj is dressed as Marilyn Monroe for some reason. Then there's this one of the two of them with the caption, "Real, recognize real," which is ironic because, you know, this picture isn't real. This one's my favorite. It's an animated photo of her and Trump. And here's the actual picture that one is based on. She could have just posted this, but nope, AI. And then her and Trump just chilling in these pink outfits with Sydney Sweeney and Elon Musk in the backseat. Now, she had already posted this picture before on President's Day, but this time she decided, you know what? Let's add Sydney Sweeney and Elon Musk. Make it a whole squad picture. I actually can't believe sometimes that this is Nicki Minaj now. We truly are living in the wildest timeline. Again, she has actual pictures with Trump. Some would say this is a non-issue, but AI is an issue. I just saw these pictures when I woke up this morning and thought, I have to talk about this with someone.
You know what I think? I think Nicki Minaj is doing that because she feel just like with Kanye West, the black people had turned their back on her, so she's trying to rebel against them, and she's doing it because he's the president, and she's trying to get some monetary gain and use him for whatever power he can do to help her out. I think that's all the hell she's doing, really.
includes people like him, Aiden Ross, Drake, Nicki Minaj. He claims that they have photos of Nicki's home, go on to claim that the alleged stalking was super invasive. Didn't even hold you. In the video, DJ Academics was kind of talking in circles. Like he was trying to spill tea, but didn't really want to use names, but kept saying the same thing over and over and kept bringing other people into it and wouldn't really get to the point. Like I have a feeling on the people he's talking about that could possibly be behind this, and I want to know if y'all are in agreement. Now, this wouldn't be the first time that somebody was all up in Nicki's business. Just a couple of years ago, there was some girl on YouTube literally breaking down the blueprint of Nicki's home, talking about the type of windows she had, looking at her headboards and comparing it to live videos she did. It was really creepy. Know that somebody could be up to these type of antics again is definitely unsettling. Nicki has previously stated she was able to get additional protection after she aligned with a certain political party, so hopefully she is still safe. To DJ Academics, her fans should be on high alert. Personally, I think that this is all a bit much. Like, what are they trying to plot to do? Unalive her? I'm just curious as to what you're gonna get from taking photos outside of her home, or what are you gonna get from stalking her? Like, what if in stalking her, it's just unclear to me. Everybody is gonna assume that they are behind this, and I don't know who else could be, but I don't understand what they would get out of doing all of this to Nicki. If they wanted to get her back, all they kind of had to do was take her to court for a lot of the things that have been said to them and about them on Twitter, saying that they would have won, but it definitely would have been a legal route to attempt to try to get a lick back if possible. I'm curious to know what y'all think regarding this. This is super crazy. Like I said, DJ Academics is claiming that these people have taken photos of Nicki's home and they have been on her head. Let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Peace.
I don't know. Could she have been behind the stalking story and the whole thing, and she was doing it for some kind of PR? It won't be the first time a celebrity has done this. I mean, who knows? Okay, let's move on to Megan Thee Stallion. All right, Megan Thee Stallion here. Remember I told you guys the reason why Klay Thompson had dumped her? Because y'all say it was cheating. A lot of people say he cheated. If he would cheated, the woman he cheated her with would have came forward for some reason. Trust me. They would have definitely confirmed the cheating. Trust me. Especially when it comes to the Carter and how he get down. So trust me, that is not the reason. I told you he grew up in a kind of civil and calm household. Work, academics, athletics, sports was primary from both his mom and his dad, and they probably was okay with her because she had money and she seemed okay, and she probably came forward to this. And she's a very intelligent woman, so she probably brought forward her intelligence, her beauty, her professionalism, and then they got a whiff of who she really was, and they was like, well, hold up now. She just acted for us. But in actuality, she ghetto as hell, man. She's ghetto as hell. He probably like, do I want to have kids by this girl? She's, twerking with thongs on, and ghetto and loud when we go to events. I mean, do I want my kids to mirror this? You know, men think that crap, especially Aquarius man, which is what he is. But here's a video.
Whoa, Klay Thompson said Megan Thee Stallion was ghetto. According to Daily Mail, an insider said that Klay Thompson said that she was just so ghetto, saying the way she acts, the way she speaks, and her constant outbursts. Despite him being a willing participant in the cute couple content, the source says behind closed doors he was annoyed and that he still tried to do it for her. The source says that Thompson felt like he couldn't live a normal life with Megan because she was constantly surrounded by entourage and security, linking it to lingering paranoia from the case of 2020 when Tory Lanez shot her. We know they made their debut at the Pete and Thomas Foundation event. This is when we really begin to see them madly in love. And then fast forward not too long ago, Megan ultimately ended up accusing him of cheating, which we never really seen any real evidence from that. Crazy because Daily Mail also said that Thompson had been reaching out to past flings before they started seriously dating. There's no confirmation that anything happened during a relationship. What do y'all think about all of this? And honestly, why are they even still talking about this?
I don't even think he cheated at all. And in terms of busyness, I doubt if that was a primary source because he was already training for basketball season anyway. So he was busy just as she was. And entourage, whatever, who cares? I'm sure he wasn't tripping about that. She just trying to point blame like she always fucking do and try and point blame away from her ass. Like she didn't do anything wrong. We know she did something wrong. I'm Aquarius. I know how Aquarius women think, especially shady ass Aquarius women. And she's being shady as hell. I'm telling you, she's not telling the full fucking story. Again, she's trying to make herself the victim. But let's move on here. Okay, let's talk about Jennifer Lopez here because it seemed like it's been a long since rumor that Jennifer Lopez was the reason for song stealing, backup vocals, copyright, etc. But what if all this, what if he had it all wrong and she was merely just a pawn to a bigger regime of propaganda to replace Mariah Carey by Tommy Mottola and the record label? I mean, if we think about it here, how would she know that the songs were stolen? How did she know that the background vocals from the artist wasn't approved before she did her voice over it? What if the producers and the writer told it was okay and they were okay with her voicing over it? What if Jennifer Lopez literally just was a pawn to their biggest fucking scheme to blacklist Mariah Carey or just be shady as hell? And they made her the center target for all of these copyrighted plagiarism, shady ass moves when she was merely just a pawn and a Hispanic woman trying to make a living in the music industry as a woman, which at the time was hard to do. I mean, come on now, let's be realistic. I'm not trying to give her excuses or anything, but I'm just saying she didn't write the song. She didn't create the song. She didn't do any of those things. She was just a voice and a face and an artist. It was the producers and a writer and the record label who did all the dirt. She was just there in the front. She had nothing to do with them being shady behind the scenes. I'm telling you that right now. It's not like she saw the song and heard the song from the artist and like, oh, I want it. I don't care if she voiced over it. No, I mean, no. Half of them didn't even meet her yet. And they said in interviews, they didn't even meet her yet. They haven't even introduced themselves to her. They just heard through the grapevine that the writer or producer stole their song and gave it to Jennifer Lopez. But they're blaming on Jennifer Lopez when you know in court, it won't even be her fault. She'd just literally be the person singing it. She probably got a different story on what actually occurred. And considering legal reasons, she can't tell you what they told her. Just be realistic here. Take a listen to this clip.
When Mariah Carey finally escaped Sony Music executive Tommy Mottola, he needed a new weapon to destroy his ex-wife's career. He chose a dancer named Jennifer Lopez. But to instantly manufacture a pop idol that could compete with Mariah, Mottola and Sony Music resorted to massive industry-wide theft. It started with pure sabotage. Mottola's camp allegedly intercepted session tapes for Mariah's Loverboy single, bought the same sample, and released it before Loverboy as the J.Lo track, I'm Real. Mottola was winning the marketing war. But J.Lo can't sing like Mariah, so Sony used ghost singers. They recorded mostly upcoming female R&B artists under the guise of creating demos, and then used their vocals as leads in the actual releases. The chorus on the I'm Real remix, that is actually Ashanti. The hook on Play, that's Christina Milian. The signature vocals and even ad-libs on Jenny from the Block, that is Natasha Ramos. The track Ride or Die? You are listening to Brandy. And the debut hit, If You Had My Love. Shawnette Harrell and Shantae Moore. The list goes on. Did Jennifer Lopez intentionally steal other artists' voices to build an empire? Or was she a pawn in Tommy Mottola's war on Mariah?
I believe Jennifer Lopez was a pawn and she had to stay quiet for legal reasons. I think she was just the face to behind the scenes dirt from Tommy Mottola, the record label producers and writers who's been shady as hell. And a lot of them was affiliated with also Diddy, and we know how Diddy get down. Let's be realistic here. She just so happened to get the hit for their dirt. Just a Hispanic person trying to make a living. I mean, they get racially profiled just like us, although they're racially profiling us, which they shouldn't. That's a whole nother subject. But that's what I think. I think she got blamed for a lot of stuff. And Mariah Carey being shady toward her is our old age mind frame of not having the ability to always hold a man accountable to what they have done. We have been doing that for how many freaking hundreds of freaking years? We always go after the woman when the man cheats. The woman 90% of the time don't know the man is involved or married for that matter, but we go after the woman and never ever hold a man accountable for his deception or infidelity. We need to get out of our mind frame of always not holding the man accountable and going after the woman who is more than likely the victim in all of this. Okay? Damn. We need to stop blaming her for stuff that isn't in her fault. Seriously. Moving right along here. Okay. Now let's get into the last story of the day. I've been having a little pondering question here. It has been a long since rumored that Usher is just like Diddy, and a lot of the lovers rumors and other sick rumors we've heard over the years are true. I mean, any man that can still take up for Diddy after seeing Diddy beat up Cassie is a monster. And we have heard some shady ass rumors in Usher's camp. Two of them girls sued him for transmitted diseases, and then his rumor of the court hearing and the terrible way he treated his first wife and her son. I mean, is he the victim still, or he not the victim anymore? He's the predator and woman beater, just like Usher. I mean, just like Diddy, I'm sorry. His coach, his mentor. Even though he comes out and act like he's a concerning father, but so did Diddy. He learned from the master. Take a listen to these clips. But I just want to say this. I think we need to stop seeing Usher as the victim. He's no longer the victim anymore. He's turned the predator and the abuser and recruiter. Pull that up real quick. Just a moment. Yeah, but we really need to stop doing that for real. We need to stop doing that for real, for real, for real.
This is why. Justin wanted to knock your head between the washer and the dryer, because what do you mean you have nothing negative to say about the diddler?
I don't have anything negative to say about Sean Combs because my experience was not what the world has seen and how he's been, misrepresented. I'm not saying that every man is perfect. I'm not saying that all of us don't have flaws. But I can't, with any sense of humanity, not recognize the valuable contributions that this man made.
Diddy is actually Lex Luthor. This man has a rap sheet so long that I don't even have enough time in this video to talk about all of the disgustingly horrible things that he did that were caught on camera, mind you. Yet Usher has nothing bad to say about him, instead saying that he has been misrepresented in media on that Forbes interview. Now, unlike 50 Cent, I don't think, at least I would hope, Diddy didn't do anything horrible to Usher. However, one begs to question if Usher allegedly maybe offered up somebody else instead. The reason why I say this is because allegedly Justin Bieber and Usher got into a little scuffle at Jay-Z and Beyonce's Oscars after party. As a reminder, Usher helped discover and mentor Justin Bieber. They had a very close relationship, like big brother and little brother, or father and son. So many were wondering what could have caused this rift. That being said, word on the street is that Usher allegedly offered Justin to Diddy and put him in harm's way, which could explain why he ain't been right since and allegedly confronted Usher at that party. Now, Justin Bieber's team has come out and said that the Canadian singer was not one of Diddy's victims. However, many people are still skeptical about whether that's the truth or not. What we do know is that a number of male and female victims have come forward testifying and talking about how the diddler has terrorized their lives. This man allegedly blew up Kid Cudi's car. He was dangling people over balconies, and we saw what he did to Cassie in that hotel hallway video. And he wants to minimalize all of that by saying, oh, I never said he was perfect. Baby, imperfect is only the tip of the iceberg. And I get it. Some people can be menaces to society, but also provide enormous contributions to the fields that they're in, right? People can be good at their jobs and terrible people at the same time, but that shouldn't stop you from holding your friends accountable. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this, but his statement is giving, I don't know, y'all, he didn't hit me. He was nice to me. This is why Justin wanted to knock your head.
Told you, we need to stop seeing Usher as a victim. He's no longer a victim anymore. He's just as bad as Diddy. Maybe not to the degree of Diddy, but they're in the same goddamn neighborhood, okay? They are in the same neighborhood. Let's just be realistic here. That's what we're seeing when it comes to Usher. Let's take a look at this video from Jagger Wright.
Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute. And his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that. He had already been to the hospital. That situation that Gene was talking about. And you still took Bieber there. But you got custody of him first. Diddy had already tried. They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy?
It's horrible.
Does that sound like a good guy? Now that we know what Diddy's really like. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
Oh.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there.
Talk to me more about the Diddy-Usher connection.
Usher has been tied to Diddy for a long time. Usher came out when he was like 14, 15. I think that he's seen a lot. There's one song that was really weird to me that they did together. What was it called? I Need a Girl. And Diddy said, we was more than lovers. We were like brothers. It's a weird line. Any lovers I've had, they're not brothers. I mean, I think that him being under Arista and how Clive Davis gave Diddy his start. Clive Davis came out, obviously. There was a lot of stories about, you know, him and Diddy being lovers and also stuff. So I think, you know, Usher has seen all that. Maybe his name will come up, maybe not. It's just weird that he deleted 7,000 tweets. Maybe he wanted to make sure he covered his tracks.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, yes, Usher is just as evil as Diddy, like right along with Jay-Z and all the rest of this little sick, crazy pedophilia, rapist, woman beating psycho crew. And that's all I have to say here. Thank you guys, whoever stayed throughout the duration of this video. I am out. I see you, speak to you guys whenever. It will probably be a while from now because I have some things I need to do. And I'll talk to you guys later. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, share. And I'm out of here. Bye.